Aw, it looks like the MAGA cult's Orange God King is having a really bad day. So sad. As I'm speaking to you right now, it is Friday, August 1st, and the convicted felon, insurrectionist, adjudicated rapist, criminal piece of shit really is having quite a bad day. I've already posted one video today talking about what we have learned in the Epstein saga is that the FBI redacted Donald Trump's name from the Epstein files. We now know that. So what do you think now, MAGA? You thought that Donald Trump was going to expose all the pedophiles in the Epstein files? No. He'd have to expose himself. And he's not going to do that. So this is a cover-up. You guys need to wake the hell up, realize you've been lied to and played for fools, and Donald Trump is covering all this up because Donald Trump is guilty of something. What exactly? We don't know, because he's covering it up. All right, so we had that. But then earlier in the day today, we got some interesting jobs numbers, and it's not good news. This is from CNBC. Let me read a little bit of this article to you. The U.S. added just 73,000 jobs in July, and numbers for prior months were revised much lower. Non-farm payroll growth was slower than expected in July, and the unemployment rate ticked higher, raising potential trouble signs for the U.S. labor market as convicted felon piece of shit Donald Trump ramps up tariffs. Well, they didn't write that exactly, the convicted felon piece of shit part. I threw that in because I think it's more accurate. Job growth totaled a seasonally adjusted 73,000 for the month, above the June total of 14,000, but below even the meager Dow Jones estimate for a gain of 100,000. June and May totals were revised sharply lower, down by a combined 258,000 from previously announced levels. At the same time, the unemployment rate rose to 4.2%. Quote, "This is a game-changer jobs report," said Heather Long, chief economist at Navy Federal Credit Union. "The labor market is deteriorating quickly." Now, for you MAGAs in the audience, that means it's going to shit. That was to be expected. Anyone with half a brain knew that that was going to happen because, you see, Donald Trump was already president once before, and he took a good economy and drove it into the gutter. Of course, he was going to do the same thing this time. Of course, is he going to be even worse because of all the tariffs? Now, how did the convicted felon Orange God King react to that bad jobs report? Well, he acted exactly like you would expect him to react. Here's another article from CNBC. President Donald Trump on Friday fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner hours after the agency reported that job growth in the U.S. had slowed to a near halt. So he shot the messenger. He didn't like the numbers, so he fired the woman at the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, anyone who replaces this person, you know now is going to be an out-and-out sycophant who is only going to report good numbers, which means he or she is going to lie. That person is only going to get the job if they promise to be loyal to Donald Trump and report whatever the hell he wants. And so now we know for a fact going forward that any numbers that we get out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, any of these economic numbers that regularly get reported, are going to be complete lies. We can't rely on any of these numbers from here on out. So that's what, that's what dictators do. They remove the people who give them bad news. And it gets worse. Gets worse for the guy. We've got some polling data. Let me read a little of this article for you. Americans are struggling financially. I thought this was the golden age. I mean, we are so damn prosperous that Donald Trump, we have no problems in this country. So he's focusing on things like refurbishing his $400 million jet that he got as a personal gift to him, contrary to the laws in the Constitution. And then he is going to spend like $1 billion of our money fixing it up, and then he's going to take it with him when he leaves. By the way, if he does that, the next president, God willing, not a MAGA Republican, should arrest and prosecute Donald Trump for theft of government property. Just saying. So he's focusing on things like that and building a $200 million ballroom at the White House. Meanwhile, regular folks, his voters, are having their health care cut, the Medicaid. They're losing their health insurance. They're losing their food assistance. The SNAP program is being cut back. And Donald Trump building himself a massive gold-plated ballroom so he and his buddies can party at the White House while you people go hungry, and if you get sick, well, you're shit out of luck. Anyway, Americans are struggling financially, grappling with debt and the rising cost of living. How can that be? The rising cost of living? I thought Donald Trump was going to make prices of everything lower on day one. Are you telling me that Donald Trump lied? That can't be true. Grappling with debt and the rising cost of living, and are blaming, wait for it, Donald Trump and corporate interests for worsening economic outlooks for working families. This according to a new poll. 6 out of 10 Americans place blame on Donald Trump for driving up their cost of living. 6 out of 10 for you MAGAs in the audience is 60%. This is according to a poll conducted by Morning Consult, which asked Americans how they are managing the high cost of living in the U.S. economy, who they think is to blame, and what are the solutions. 63% said Trump had a negative impact on grocery prices. The groceries, remember the groceries. I just heard this word, groceries. It's an old-fashioned word. It means groceries. And the price is going to come down on day one, okay? How's that working out for you, MAGAs? All of you morons, you blithering freaking idiots. And not just the MAGAs, because they would have voted for Donald Trump, no matter what. But how about, are there any of you in the audience who maybe you're not part of the Trump cult, but you voted for Donald Trump because you believed his bullshit lies that he was going to lower grocery prices on day one and all that kind of nonsense? What do you think now? How do you think it's going? You regret your vote? Too late now. Thanks a lot, dumbasses. Where was I? He had a negative impact on grocery prices, and 61% said he had a negative impact on the cost of living. Those are bad numbers. 63%, 61%, not good. By the way, this mug, my little buddy right here, I do have people asking me about this. If you want one of these yourself, I got a link on my YouTube page. You can find it. It's also in the video description of this video below, just so you know. But you might not be able to afford it, not because it's all that expensive, but because our piece of shit president is driving the economy into the ground. So I understand, but it's just, it's there if you want it. Okay, what else we have here? Nearly half, 49%. Now, you MAGAs in the audience, 50% is half. So that's why I said nearly half, 49%. Close, but not not quite half. 49% said that Trump had a negative impact on their finances. Nearly 8 out of 10. What do you think that is? Give me a percent, MAGA. Can you figure 8 out of 10? Come on, you can do it. 80%. Come on. Better luck next time. Nearly 8 out of 10 Americans, including 70% of Republicans, fear that Trump's tariffs will increase the price of everyday goods. You mean 70% of Republicans aren't buying his bullshit either about tariffs? Not good. Not good. Anyways, this article goes on and on. It's all bad news for Donald Trump. It's bad news for America, but you know, it was bad news for America back on November 5th, 2024, when we found out how many fucking idiots there are in this country that reelected this piece of shit. So, you know, this is not to be unexpected. And in fact, we're going to look back on these shitty numbers and say, wow, it was really good back on August 1st, 2025. I wish we could go back to those numbers because it is so much worse now. It's only going to get worse. Worse and worse and worse. Because, you know, he's got all these new tariffs. Like, for example, he announced his deal with the EU. 15% tariffs on all European imports. And he's bragging about this. And MAGA's bragging about it. Because they're idiots. And they think that somehow the EU is going to be paying us 15% of the cost of goods that are imported. No, you fucking morons. We're paying that. If you buy anything that is imported from the EU, you are paying 15% more. Or thereabouts. Because that price is going to be passed on to you. Maybe not the entire 15%. Each company will do what they need to do. It depends what their margins are and all this kind of stuff. Supply and demand, competition. What's the competition doing? But you're going to be paying more. Absolutely, you're going to be paying more. So when Trump brags about all the money that he's raising from tariffs, I mean, he tells you idiots that other countries are paying us all this money. No. That money is being raised from the American people. It is a tax on the American people. Other countries do not pay the tariff. The importing companies in the United States pay the tariffs and then pass that tax on to you in the price of the goods that they sell to you. So, and this contributes to Americans, you know, being pessimistic about the future. 63%, 61%, all these people saying that things have gotten worse, and they're blaming Donald Trump and his tariffs and all these other stupid ass things that he's doing are the reason. And ultimately, it's you MAGAs who are the reason. You empowered this orange buffoon to do this. And now you and the rest of us are suffering the consequences. It's a good job, morons.